business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the pod.
Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. Every episode is an invitation, a reminder that business and life isn't just about profit. It's about purpose. It's about showing up with a servant's heart in every deal, every decision, every day, and every connection, which I just added because my guest today is going to talk about that, to make a powerful impact on others. Today's guest, boy, is she going to light you up. Just from her smile, she's going to light you up. But what she's got behind that smile is going to be fabulous because she's going to motivate you. She's going to inspire you. She's going to challenge you. And more importantly, you're going to walk away with tools that inspire action, both in your life and the lives of others. But before we dive in, here's your homework. How are you going to serve yourself and others today? Keyword is today. We don't wait on this service. It doesn't have to be a big impact. Even a small act of kindness or courage or bravery, as we're going to talk about today, can change the game. So lean in, take notes, and let's discover how servant leadership in business can create this ripple effect that lasts far beyond the bottom line. Quick shout out to my sponsor, Epic Impact, the 4-step system to transform how I pitch, how I social media post, and how I podcast. Engage, inspire, persuade, and close with clarity. Grab your free trial at epicimpact.ai with promo code Steve to start inspiring action today. Let's bring our guest on. I can't talk anymore. Jill, welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart.
Thank you so much for having me. And you just had me at servant's heart in your intro. You're speaking my language. I love everything that I'm hearing because every time I'm on stages, usually speaking to leaders, usually the first thing that always comes out of my mouth is talking about servant leadership. So we are aligned. We are like soul brother and sister.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for your service, by the way.
Thank you.
Service in the Marines, U.S. Marine Corps, which is awesome. Well, let's jump in. What's your definition of servant leadership?
Well, servant leadership is not all about you as a leader. It's about focused on serving others. So as leaders, many times we think about like, what can you do for me? But instead, if we want to be great leaders, then we need to be focusing on what do my employees, what do my direct reports or the people that I serve, what do they need to be the most successful for them to achieve our goals? So we need to shift what we're doing to meet their needs. And if you ask that question in the morning, you're driving to work, like, what can I best do to serve my team so they can succeed and win? Whatever the answer to that is, that's what should guide you and lead you each day. That's what I say.
Amen. Bravery, we talked about before the show. Your book, we'll talk about the book here in a minute. Why is it you're so passionate about bravery?
I'm so passionate about bravery because fear silently controls people's behavior. And fear is not just something in the physical sense. I'm talking about the fear that holds people back from raising their hand at work and sharing an idea. The fear that holds people back for maybe applying for promotion or switching from one job that's unfulfilling to a more fulfilling one, or going up and talking to someone that you've been wanting to meet, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But fear keeps us small. It holds us back from becoming who we're meant to be, from achieving our goals. So I just became obsessed. I was studying positive psychology at the University of Pennsylvania, which is the scientific study, positive psychology, of elevating happiness and well-being in individuals, teams, and communities. And the area that I ended up becoming most interested in my studies of positive psychology to help people thrive was of how fear holds people back. And what is the antidote for fear? It's bravery. So I'm just so passionate about bravery because I think in today's world, the messages that people are hearing on the news and seeing on social media is that, if you want to be happy in life, then be easy on yourself, choose the comfortable path, remove obstacles and challenges. And if you look at this scientifically, that is not correct. That is not correct. So I'm here. I'm like, think of me. I'm like part tough girl, but I'm also part academic geek. And this book I decided to write about bravery is to bring the truth. If you want your best life, if you want to thrive, you want to be the happiest life, people need to choose the hard path, the meaningful path to achieve what they want. So that is what motivated me to write this book. I just feel like the world needs this message to kind of to bring the pendulum back to like we need to do hard things, not avoid hard things if you want to be the happiest.
Master's in applied positive psychology. Just had to throw it out there because it's long, first of all. But it's interesting with the positive psychology. I've never, is it a brand new master's or is it something that's been
Yeah,
around?
it's actually been around where Marty Seligman really started the positive psychology movement, and he's at Penn, which is where I studied. And this year they're celebrating the 20th year of having a master's in applied positive psychology. So it's an emerging field. It's been around for 20 years, but yeah, I mean, in the past, the field of psychology used to only focus on people who were not well, like people who were depressed or anxious or schizophrenic. And the whole field of psychology was just trying to make people like not miserable. So positive psychology is taking people who are good, who are fine, but how do we elevate and make people thrive? So it's shifting on kind of the majority. Like if you're on a scale from negative 10 to 10, maybe Steve, you're at a 6 right now. The field of positive psychology is like, I want to help people get from a 6 to an 8 to a 10. How do you help people live their best life? So it's a scientific study of that. So kind of on the right end of the scale. Mhm.
And by the way, go Quakers. I believe the pen is the Quakers. See,
Yes,
I
it
knew
is.
that.
Well known.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Rock and roll for me. Let's jump into the book. What's the title and what are we going to get when we read it?
All right. Well, the title is called The Bravery Effect. And the reason why I named it The Bravery Effect is here's the promise of people just if people can build their bravery muscle, because anyone can learn to be
Mm.
brave. So the promise of learning to be brave, the effect of learning to be brave, it's not really about achieving the goal or doing the hard thing. It's actually who you become on the journey. When people let fear hold them back from their dreams, their desires, from having the impact that they want, and then they learn to be brave, yes, they're more successful. Yes, they achieve their goals. Yes, they have a bigger impact. But the best part of bravery is the effect it has on the person. People will, their shoulders are back. They increase their self-efficacy, their self-belief. They look in the mirror with pride. And when they learn to be brave, they become warriors in life. They become unstoppable. So it's the transformation that I see in people that is the most exciting. So that's what the book is called and why it's called The Bravery Effect. Now, in the book, it's written as a parable. I love stories. Stories stick. They're entertaining. I have a little motivation for writing as a story too. I buy a ton of books, a lot of business books. And sometimes I get them and I love them and I read them and I get about halfway through and then I kind of stop and put it on the shelf. Have you ever done that, Steve? Like not
Oh,
read
yeah.
but if you get a parable, like a Ken Blanchard's One Minute Manager, a Lencioni's like the five dysfunctions of the team. I love these parables. You have to get to the end because you want to know what happens. So I wrote mine as a parable. I mean, Ken Blanchard is my mentor. He wrote the foreword. But I just want you to read the whole book. So it's simple, it's entertaining. It teaches the science of bravery in a very practical way through the story. So it's a parable. People are going to learn basically simple strategies that come from cognitive psychology, how to shift into a brave mindset because you have to first believe that you can do hard things, which impact your actions. Then it draws upon behavioral psychology, which is how do you actually take that step forward even when you're scared. And then it finally draws in the third body, which is social psychology, which can help you take that brave step. So when people read the story, they'll be entertained and inspired, but they're going to learn along the way or along this journey practical steps to believe they can be brave, take the brave step, and surround themselves with the right people to have that bigger impact.
Bob Berg's another one of his parables, the Go Giver book,
Oh,
which
yes,
I love.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I want to, because he was on my show. It just came to the top of my mind. Okay. So we've got the bravery effect.
Hmm.
I'm a CEO. How would you incorporate in my culture bravery amongst me and all my team?
Yeah. I just had a CEO called me a couple weeks ago, and I just spoke at that company like last week. So this is just like top of mind. So we need to infuse bravery into the culture, and it's something we need to teach leaders on how to do. Now, one thing that is not done in organizations is we don't do anything on the cognitive side of behavior.
Yeah.
How we think impacts how we perform. And I have had a leadership development business. And even before that, I was doing it in a Fortune 100 company. Usually when we do skill building, we just do it on the actual skill, like, okay, how to be a better accountant, how to do this better. And even in leadership, we're like, here's how to give better feedback, here's how to do this and how to do that. But we don't focus on the cognitive side. And it is a game changer. So when I go into companies too, I call it a warrior mindset, a brave mindset, because I want everyone to know that when we focus on mindset and we teach people how to do it. So if you were the CEO, I'd say, let's make sure everyone we work on the cognitive side so everyone believes that they are unstoppable. They can do anything. Because if we get them believing that, imagine the impact on results. So it's something we should bring into the training in addition to all the skill building that we have. So that's one thing. And in addition, what I hear a lot of CEOs want, or at least the HR leaders that hire me, is everyone's talking about psychological safety, which I love. I teach psychological safety all the time to my clients because it's incredibly important. But you know what the missing link is? And I just wrote an article on this in Forbes a couple weeks ago, is like sometimes we just focus on like, let's just make sure that it feels safe for everyone, just so everyone can do their best work. And that's very important. And you as a CEO and leaders, we need to create a psychologically safe environment, but we also need to teach each of our employees of how to be brave, because some people, no matter how safe we make it, are going to feel too timid to speak up. So when you combine leaders creating a psychologically safe environment and becoming servant leaders, and you also empower the employees on how to be brave, actually based on evidence, like then all these frontline employees are going to have their shoulders back. They're going to feel unstoppable. They're going to feel empowered. They're going to be able to have a bigger impact, set more bold goals. Oh my gosh, then the organization becomes unstoppable. But a lot of organizations, we miss like teaching the skill of being brave.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. That's the first thing that comes to mind. I do a lot of keynotes. So a lot of like companies have me come in and I'll do the keynote on bravery. But what my favorite part is all the follow-up work that they can do to pull it through to actually become part of the culture. Like I love entertaining, but I don't want to be just an hour. I
Yeah.
want this to be part of the culture.
Well, it's different for every company too. That's the thing. A
Mhm.
plumbing company is going to be much different than a CPA company,
Yes.
or a marketing agency.
Mhm.
Bravery and mindset, a courageous mindset is going to be different.
Yep.
So give us a tool or two that somebody listening, because a lot of founders, owners, entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs, by the way, you need to be brave too, more so than
Mhm.
anybody else. A couple tips, tools that we can use.
Um, Let me think of a couple. So one tool, let's do one on the cognitive side, one on the behavioral psychology side. So one on the cognitive side is just the most basic one that you have to start with is making sure everyone believes that the challenging thing that we're trying to get to is possible. A lot of people have a fixed mindset and just don't feel like I just can't do that. I'm just not good at that. So, Growth Mindset by Carol Dweck from Stanford, she's the leading researcher that discovered that, is helping people believe that if they work hard and put effort into it, they can build whatever skill they want. So, let's say someone says, for them to be more successful and to drive more sales for their company, they have to become great at public speaking. They're like, I'm just not someone who can talk in front of people. It's just not me. I can't do that. So, we would teach them to use one word that's only three letters that can change their mindset. And it's the word yet. So I would say, if it was you, Steve, I would say that again. I'm just not someone who can talk or, walk up and talk in front of a group of people. Add the word yet. And what that does, it's very powerful. It just opens the door to possibility. So when you have people do that and say, okay, say it again with the word yet. Now, what does that change for you? And people realize like, okay, I'm not good at it, but I could eventually get there if I put some hard work and effort into it. So in this is such a powerful tool because as you work with your employees, what are the things they need to be great at to perform at their best to drive results? And if they believe that it's possible, then they'll start doing the work. If people believe that they just can never do it, then that negatively impacts their actions. They're not even going to try. But I think it's possible then they're going to take steps forward and they're going to start developing that skill. So that's just, it's such a simple one. There's like 4 cognitive psychology, like practical things I bring into organizations, but that's just one. And then on the behavioral psychology side, so one is mindset, warrior mindset. We got to believe we can do it. Then secondly, we actually need to take a step forward when we're scared, because that's the definition of bravery. Voluntary action in the presence of fear toward a worthwhile or meaningful goal. So if we want to take a step, what I teach people is do not wait to feel ready or motivated to take action. I think a lot of people have that misnomer, like get up in the morning, like, well, what do I feel like doing? What am I going to be motivated to do? Or I don't feel ready yet. So bravery is defined again as taking a step forward in the presence of fear. So I teach people like, so if we've got this challenging goal that's really important to our business and my success, then what are the actions that I need to take each day that are scary? And even if you don't feel ready or you don't feel confident yet, you build confidence by taking a step. You don't wait until you're confident to take the step. So I think people just misunderstand that. Well, when I'm ready, I'm going to take a step. When I feel motivated. So you're not going to feel ready. In fact, if you wait until you feel ready in business, you're waiting too long. You need to take that little step forward. So that's one. And then also when it comes to just motivation and confidence, what we know by the research by Roy Baumeister, what he found is we have limited cognitive resources. So basically we have the best ability to do the hard thing first thing in the morning. By the end of the day, our battery in our brain is low and we're going to be more or less apt to be able to do the hard thing. So you want to teach your organization that your first couple of hours in the day need to be attacking the hardest things. I call it attack the day. It's just the Marine to me, like attack the day. What are the hardest, most challenges, scariest things that you need to do to help you achieve your goal? And you've got to use your morning hours to do that. That way people are going to take the steps every day. And then when they're doing them, sometimes it's hard, but then when they're done with that task for the day, this is what you see, Steve. They're like, wow,
Take off.
I did this. And then they get momentum and productivity. So 2 tips, so they do the hard steps each day and then have them attack the day every morning, early in the morning. They're going to be so much more productive. And then you're going to start seeing that pride, that self-confidence increase because they're taking the steps.
You're a brilliant woman. I'm sure you've heard that many times. That's brilliant and simple because it has to be simple with humans.
Yeah,
right?
I'm that same way too. Thank you for recognizing that, because I am a science geek, and I've got my advanced degree and did my capstone. But the reason I even wrote the book as a parable is I believe in this too. I mean, as a Marine, we'd say, keep it simple, sir. If it's not simple, people are not going to be able to execute it. So I really believe in that. Let's just make it simple. Make it simple, because if it's sticky where people remember and it's simple, they're actually going to do it, and it's going to make a difference in their lives and their careers. So thank you.
You're going to love this.
Okay.
Slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
Ooh.
Came right from you guys, the Marines and Navy SEAL. I say it once a week to people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're saying. It's slow, smooth, smooth is fast. We don't need to run our marathon. Take the steps and start walking it it's so great.
Yeah. And you are what you consistently do each day. And in fact, like if we talk about like I geek out on like goal setting theory and goal execution, there's an entire like part of psychology that's focused on it. But like instead of focusing on the goal, focus on the behaviors and the things you have to do each day to achieve the goal. So don't even I want you to be inspired by the goal, but some people keep thinking about the goal, but they're not doing anything. So you are what you do each day. So be consistent. And you know what? You said at the beginning, like, what are you going to do to best serve yourself? So I want people to realize that the best thing to serve yourself is keeping promises to yourself, to do the hard things that are going to lead you toward your goals. That is real self-care, not the self-care crap that I see on my daughter's like Instagram feeds that say self-care is sleep in and watch TV all day and have a relaxing day. That is not self-care. That is you breaking a promise to yourself. So yeah, I get fired up on this stuff. So yes, you are what you consistently do. Slow is smooth. Just every day, take a step forward. You are going to go so far. Don't wait and try to get everything done today, because it's not going to happen.
1% every day. By the end of the year, You're up 356% if you do it, or 200% if you just do it on business days. I love
Yeah.
you, man. I
Ah,
love what you're saying. We're coming to the end.
mm,
Couple more questions. Vulnerability and courageous. How's that tied
ooh,
together?
yeah. Well, the third part that people will learn in their book is it draws from social psychology. So if you want to accomplish hard things, you will be more successful in being brave and getting to that mountaintop of whatever your goal is if you can leverage the people around you, which requires you to be vulnerable enough to ask for help. So many times I'm like, just last night I had my book launch party and I invited a Navy SEAL to come speak along me, and it was so great. He was on my panel, and he was even talking about how he's really brave when it comes to being in battle, and he's been like deployed 5 times and have all these stories, but he's had to really become braver in asking for help, especially as he's transitioned out, and also not being afraid of not being perfect or failing, right? Especially making that transition. So part of being brave is being number one, brave enough to suck at something, like if there's a new goal that you want to go after, and brave enough when you're on the journey to learn something, if there's something new that you're going after, brave enough to be vulnerable and ask people for help. Like, Steve, when I decided to write my book, like I'd never written a book before, so I had to be brave enough to suck at something first. So writing the book, marketing the book, all of that, like I was brand new. So now that I know the science behind it, I'm like, well, I know the strategy is I should surround myself with people who have successfully done that so they can help me. So I found people who were successful New York Times selling best authors. They're in my network. I talk to them regularly. So on the climb to achieve something, there's going to be ups and downs. On the ups, I'm good on my own, but on the downs, you need to reach out to the people who are going to encourage you, to put courage into you, not allow you to tap out. And a lot of times this group of people, they're not the same people that you talk to each day right now. So we need to be strategic in curating a brave tribe to best serve you in accomplishing your brave goals, right? So I mean, if I would have not gone to this group, people would say, like, you've got such a successful training business. Like, why would you do that? Why would you want to write a book? Like, you're doing great over here. Now, I need to surround myself with people that are going to say, oh yeah, you have a really great business over here, but writing a book is the best thing. And here are some hints to get over the hard times. And those mentors like Ken Blanchard, John Gordon, a couple of my mentors, if I wouldn't have had them to pick me up when I was in one of those ruts, I don't know if I would have published the book, or I don't know if I would have done it to the level of excellence that I believe the book has now. So you'll go further and better when you lean on others. So don't be too proud. Being brave is not like, oh, I'll do it myself. No, that's just stupid. Be brave enough to reach out and ask people for help. And when they can help you, they get such a benefit because there's all this literature in pro-social behavior. They get more of a benefit, sometimes as much of more of a benefit than you do because they love helping others. So when you hesitate, when you're too much of a wimp to ask for help, you're robbing them of an opportunity to get that boost in their well-being.
Universe will talk to you, or I believe in God. God will talk to you. We don't know when, where, or how. That's the problem with people. I'm going to
Mm,
help Jill, but when is the money going to come? When can't do that.
ah,
Just do it. We're coming to the end here. Audience, we're going to bring her back because this is exactly what Stephen Moore loves, is this
mm,
talk of positive stuff. So let's have a fun question. Again,
ooh,
outside of business. So
okay.
you've got a reservation at a restaurant, table of 4. You're going to sit in one of the chairs. The 3 empty chairs, who's Jill going to invite, whether dead or alive, to get in their head to mentor for a while? And
Oh,
what food would you order for the table?
okay, 3 people. Okay, and dead or alive, then I would want to surround myself at a table with Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus. My 3 favorite Stoic philosophers that I feel like they're in my head because I love reading, what they write. And then I would go old school, and my trainer's gonna like this answer, like nothing processed. So we would have old school, like we'd have steak and potatoes and vegetables, and then of course a glass of an amazing red wine. So, and we would just spend hours and I would just soak it all in. And the reason why I'd want to have this conversation with them is after I did my research and wrote my book, most of the book, then I discovered Stoicism and I realized like everything I'm trying to take what they taught. I'm taking everything they talked about and wrote so many centuries ago, so long ago, and I'm trying to breathe life into it now so I could learn so much from them.
I read the Daily Stoic every day right at
Oh,
home.
yes, me
You
too.
must be part of it. It's an audience. If you don't have the book, it's 3 or 4 paragraphs every day. It has changed my life. My best friend called me Monday. He says, "You're so different now because of Stoicism." And it goes
Yes.
business and personal. My God, you're my new best friend. When you put those
Ah,
3 in there, I'm going to sit at that table because I would love to talk to them.
ah.
Um, Thank you for being a wonderful guest. We'll have her back in a few months, bring her back. There's a lot more to talk about. How can people connect with you? Where can they get the book?
Oh, thanks. Probably the best way to connect with me is if you want some free resources, you can just go to my website and then on my website, everything's there. So jillschulman.com, JILLSCHULMAN. If you go to my website, I have a free bravery assessment. So if you want to learn a little bit out and you want a free guide right now that actions you can take to build your bravery muscle right now, just go to my website there. So you can do that. Also, like my biggest platform on is LinkedIn because I mainly work within organizations. I'm getting better. I'm trying to be brave and going into the whole Instagram, TikTok. Like that's my 2026 thing to leap into. A little bit scared of, but I got to be brave there. So please follow me on LinkedIn. Go to my website and download the free resources. And then my book is available anywhere books are sold. It just came on the market yesterday. It's called The Bravery Effect. I'd be so honored if you read it. And read it and apply it and then pass it along to someone else because I just want to start a movement of people realizing when there's something they're scared of, there's some fear, don't run away from it. Run toward it because usually it's a sign that there's something important on the other side of. So thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you. And I'm standing right next to you in this movement because I want 1 million people to see the message doing business with a servant's heart. Same thing you're doing. It's a movement that we're in the same highway, different lanes. Love
Yeah.
it. Audience, here's your homework at the end. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I love my viewers, I love my subscribers, but this show is a perfect example. I say this a lot, but can you imagine you share this link, this podcast with somebody
Mm,
and they become braver? That's the gift of life. I know people are like, oh my God, it's true.
mm.
Because what you told me today, yeah, I'm going to add that to everything I do. It's going to change my life. So you do the same thing, share this gift, these podcasts. Doesn't have to be my podcast, any others that you're listening to. Use them as gifts. With
Mm.
that being said, me and Jill want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.